Hello and welcome to our today's webinar, Easy Gantt. My name is Anna Ogunwusi. I work in Easy Software as a Business Development Manager, and I will be your host for today's webinar. So in order for us to be able to explore Easy Gantt, I have set up a 30 days free trial for Easy Redmine, and as you can see, I'm already inside the trial over here. There's quite a lot actually I could be showing you about Easy Gantt. So let's see how much we manage to cover today. So there's actually one important thing, and that is to differentiate between the global Gantt and the project Gantt. So what's the difference? In global Gantt, you will see all the tasks across all the projects in your Easy Redmine, while in project Gantt, it will be only the tasks for the particular project that you are in. So where can we actually find Easy Gantt? So right here, when we are on the home page, when you scroll down, you can see the global Gantt over here. And as you can see, we have a list of all the projects here. We can also, in case you don't have it on your home page, like we do here in the trial version, you can access it through the menu More and Easy Gantt. So this is how we access the global Gantt. Now, I would like to also show you how you can actually access your project Gantt. So let's click on the sample project, and in another tab, the sample project will open for us. And over here, among the modules, we will see Easy Gantt. So when we click on it, now we can see the tasks for this particular project, for the sample project. As you can see, we can't see any other projects over here. Let's see what it would, for instance, look like for this project, actually, for the demonstration of project. So when we come to this particular project, you can see that Easy Gantt is not in the menu over here. The Easy Gantt can be simply added to any of your projects. It can be activated on any projects. And to do that, we would go to Settings and Modules. And then we have to find our Easy Gantt. As you can see, you have all the modules. So only the basic ones or some of them are activated on your project, and it also depends on the bundles or plugins that you have available in your Easy Redmine that you have bought and activated. So, but in case you have bought them even newly and you haven't activated them on your project, this is how you do it. So you go to the particular project, click on Settings, the modules, and then pick the one you want. And then simply click on Save. And now we see that actually Easy Gantt has appeared over here. So because this project has sub-projects, we will see the sub-projects and its tasks. But we won't see any other projects because we are on the project level. However, I would start with the global Gantt first because pretty much all the settings are actually similar or the same both for the project and the global level. The difference I have just shown you is where you will actually find it. So another thing is actually I just showed you that you can access it through your homepage or you can access it through the menu More. And in case you actually don't have it on your homepage dashboard, how to edit there. So if you, for instance, deleted this one from here, and you probably know that this is how you can adjust all the dashboards that you have in your Easy Redmine. You can simply use the bin icon, or if you wanted to edit it, then you use the pen icon. And then to add any new modules, you would click on Customize this page at the bottom of the dashboard. And we would select the module from the list and choose the tab that we want to edit on, or you can also create a new tab. So we want to edit to this tab. So select module from the list. And then we will scroll down here and click on Global Gantt. And you can also actually move it around. So it depends whether you want to have it on a complete top or if you want to add it a bit below, etc. So once we add it, then we go to save the page and go back, and it will appear on our home dashboard. So as you can see, it's the same as the one that we actually just deleted before. And as I said, we can also access it through the menu more. So what is actually EasyGun? That would be a good thing to start with. So as you can see, it's a very specialized bar chart, which is supposed to provide you an overview of all the projects, if we are talking about the global Gantt, of the projects and tasks in your project management software, in your Easy Redmine, and for you to be able to see them in time, the length, the start date, due date, etc. So it's very useful, and it's intended mainly to be used by project managers, IT managers, business owners, or portfolio managers. That's why actually Global Gantt is also sometimes called Portfolio Gantt. So why is it actually important to use Gantt? It's one of the, as you can actually see, when you go to our pricing page, Gantt is a part of the basic Easy Redmine. And why is that? Because it's essential for you to run your project management. Like if there was no Gantt, then it would be actually really hard for you to do anything. So it shows the internal structure. It shows you the dependencies of various tasks. It shows you all the, as I said, start date, due date. It allows you also to work with the tasks and the project, to work with it in time, etc. So as you can see, actually, when we are on the global Gantt, when we come there, first we will see mainly the projects. To see what's under the project is actually sub-projects. We just click on the pluses and we will see the sub-projects. And then by clicking on each project, we would get to the project's overview page and then be able to actually access its Gantt there as well. There is some filtering options and some settings into Gantt that we can have a look at. So by default, when you access your global Gantt or your project Gantt, you will see the weeks view, but you can also change it to the days view or to the months view. You can see that there are also some basic filters set up, so you can choose what filters you want instead of you having to create the filter every time you access the page or load the page again. You can save your filters. So as you can see, you can either apply settings when you create the filter, or you can save it as a new filter. So you would choose what you are trying to filter over here. By default, you will have these two filters, especially in the Easy Redmine trial. And then in options, you can choose what you want to view on your Gantt. So over here on the right side, that's what we want to see in the left side of Gantt. So if you wanted to see more, some more details here, such as, for instance, project owner or country, product, percentage done, description, due date, whatever, we will just click on what we need to see there. Click on it here, use the arrow to move it to the right side, to the right column, and then click on Apply Settings. And then you can see that a new column has appeared over here. So as you can see with Gantt, it's actually one of the easiest way for planning, including creating associated tasks, relations between tasks, milestones, and delays. It also actually, because you see it on one single chart, it helps to save time. It gives you an overview at the beginning of the project, during the project, at the end of the project. You can see the execution phase, how far you are, with the project, how is your team doing. And also, because Gantt uses a lot of drag and drop, then it saves you time for having to control it with your keyboard or having to open the tasks, etc. So as I mentioned, in Easy Redmine, the functionality of Easy Gantt is provided already in the basics. So it's in the basic package. So you don't need to actually purchase it or install it separately. So even if you are not using your Gantt yet and you actually have Easy Redmine, then you just need to find it in the menu more or add it to your dashboard. While for if you are looking to use it as a plugin for your Redmine, then you need to purchase it and install it. So, as I mentioned, the global level of Gantt provides you with opportunity to actually manage your entire project portfolio that you are managing in your Easy Redmine, and all of it that is on one screen. So each project over here is actually represented by one single or individual bar, which we can see over here. Let's actually go back to the week's view. So as you can see, on each line, we have one project, and that's one bar. When we move these bars around, we can actually work with the drag and drop feature, and we can work with the changing the start date and the due date for the project. And actually, we should show that on the months view. So for instance, the first project over here, we can move it to the left, move it to the right, and this way we are changing the start date and the due date. And the same with any other project. So we can actually watch it over here as well. So right now, when we make any changes, make sure you save it. So it would update over here as well. So let's see. So right now we can see that the due date for the first project, which is the for demonstration of budget statements, has a due date of the 7th of April 2020. If we drag the bar for that project and move it around, let's say to just the end of October, and hit the button save, it'll update over here as well. And this way we can do it for all the projects, and then we can also open the sub-projects and work with the sub-projects the same way. If you want to see the tasks as well, then we click on the button that is next to the sub-project. We can always also close the project or close the sub-project. Because by the default view, it'll be always in the global Gantt, it'll be showing us the project level and also the sub-projects, but everything just with the plus and minus sign, it'll be working with the projects. If we want to see the task, we always have to initially, before we start working with it, we have to hit this button to open the tasks under those projects as well. So as you can see with the global Gantt on one single screen, you can see all the projects that you have within your Easy Redmine, all the sub-projects, and essentially all the tasks as well. You might have noticed also the different coloring that you have over here. The colors indicate how far you are with the project, how far behind or how well ahead you are with the project. So because this red line over here, it indicates where we are in time. So we are at the beginning of September 2019. So it indicates that all the projects should actually be the percentage done, which is these colors over here, should be up to this line. And if it's not, as you can see when I just came with the mouse over this particular project, it's actually even saying in the red I don't want to move the mouse now because then it would disappear. It says in the right down corner, lower corner, it says that it's behind the schedule by 75 days. You can see that actually nothing has been done yet. Well, here a little has been done on this project. However, it's still behind the schedule by 72 days. Well, then we have a different case with this sample project, because as you can see, we're in September. So this project actually has not even started while something has been done on it already. So what would so what actually happens when we are using the drag and drop in the global Gantt is that it changes the due date, the start date, and the due date, especially if you save it. So if you make any of those changes, you always have to hit the button save. So that way you are actually changing the attributes of the project without having to go on the overview page of the project. And we can work very similar way with the tasks as well. To show you how we actually work with the tasks, let's go to the project level. So let's go back to the sample project that we already viewed before, because that way it'll be easier. There's less tasks for us, so it'll be easier to manage and navigate around. So here the settings, the view, what it looks like is actually just the same as the global Gantt. As you can see, this project has 3 tasks directly under the project, and then it also has a sub-project. Let's go to the weeks view. In this particular project, we have 3 tasks. And these tasks, you can see they have some kind of arrows over here. These arrows actually indicate relations between tasks. These relations can be set up easily and can be deleted easily actually as well. What do the relations indicate? There are several types of relations, and in this particular case, we are working with relation that indicates that the following task cannot start unless the previous one has finished. When we click on the relation, we can also delete it. So let's delete both of them. And let's start it over. You can see over here that actually the way the tasks are put on the list is not necessarily by the name of the tasks. You can, if you want to load them by the name of the task, you hit these buttons over here and it'll change it. So that's what the arrows are here for. But the way we are viewing it is simple because of the start date and the due date. And if we want to create the relation that was there before, so the best way actually to show you how it'll affect it is if we move all the tasks to have pretty much the same start date. This one is so tiny, so we can even enlarge it. So it's another thing you can do with the task as well. You can actually prolong it. You can change the duration of the task, which essentially you are changing the start date and the due date, but you can, that way you are changing the duration of the task as well. So now we have 3 tasks. They all have the same start date, different due dates, but we want to mark that, for instance, sample task 2 is dependent on sample task 1 and cannot start unless sample task 1 is completed. So how shall we do that? How to indicate it? How to make it visible for people that everyone knows that this is the case, that it's not like a case where we work on all 3 tasks. This is something that is done during the planning phase of the project, so at the beginning, before preferably before the task is actually assigned to someone, because you will see how it will affect the start date and the due date of the task. So we have sample task 1, and task 2, which is over here, cannot start unless this one is finished. And that's what these half moons on the task are for. So we will click on the half moon and hold, and you can see there's like a line going and connect it to the other task. And you can see it has automatically changed the start date and the due date. It has moved it on the Gantt chart. So now we can actually visually see that it cannot start unless the other one is finished. And the same way we can do it for sample task 3, as in it cannot start unless sample task 2 is finished. So we do it the same way, half moon and connect it. Let's hit the button save so we don't lose the changes we have made. And now let's imagine that this project has not even started. Well, obviously it's to start in January 2020, but something happened and we are not able to start the sample task 1 till February 2020. And because we have these dependencies, this is actually quite easy. The relations we have created for the task over here, they are quite easy. But what would happen if we have like hundreds of tasks with hundreds of different relations? For that reason, when we change just one task, it'll affect the tasks that are following it, that are related to it. So if we change sample task 1, that it'll only start in February 2020, and we can do that by drag and drop, you can see what's happening. It's automatically actually pushing the sample task 2 and sample task 3 ahead in time as well. So let's save this for us. And now I want to show you something that I briefly mentioned when we are working with the task. And that's how you can actually be working with the order of the tasks or the projects in this column. So each column, no matter which one it is, if it's subject or the column assignee, let's actually add more columns. So we go to options and we can add column done, column due date, and priority. That's a good one as well. We will save and apply settings. So this way we'll have more columns here. I will just slightly decrease this one. And this is how what you can use to reorder the tasks, because you want to have the order of the task based on a particular rule. So if you want the order of the tasks and the projects to show based on the subject, then you will go to the column subject and you will use these arrows. And you can see just by clicking on the arrow, it changes. Then we can also do it by assignee. So if we want to use the same technique, we click in the column. The arrows over here will show, and then we just use them to click. The same with the column done. The same for the due date, just to show you. And the same for the priority. So basically, whichever attribute you choose, you want to order it by, you will just go to options. You will find the attribute that you want to use, such as start date, due date, status, assignee, anything, estimated time, remaining time, etc. You will add it over here. Then you will save it, apply the settings. It'll add the column here, and then you just use the arrows. It does not work the way that you will be just drag and dropping and they will stay that way, such as you can do in the work breakdown structure. So it does not work that way. You have to follow a certain rule over here. And the same way we edit them, we can actually delete the columns as well. So we would just use this arrow to move it back, due date, and apply setting. So this way we have seen how to create relations, how we can change the order of the tasks and the projects based on different attributes. And another thing that you will probably work with in your Gantt is also milestone. So first, how to actually show milestones. So when we go to tools, which we actually haven't been to yet, let's wait for this. Okay, so when we go to tools, we can actually see other things, other options that other tools that the EasyGantt offers, such as for looking at baselines, cash flow, critical path. You can also be filtering delayed tasks. You can work in resource management in your Gantt as well. But I want to show you something over here, which is the button New. When we activate this button, we can use it for creating new tasks as well as new milestone. Actually, just to show you, new task is as easy as hitting the button, or also if you just drag in the EasyGantt, it'll work the same way. So we can do sample task for. So you have two options for creating a new task. You can either create it just by drag and drop over here, or hitting the button new task, and it'll work exactly the same way. A pop-up window will show. You will type in, sorry, my internet is not the best at the moment. You'll type in the name and add any attributes that you need and just save it. So we have a question, meanwhile it's loading, from Mohammed. Thank you, Mohammed, for your question. And the question says, how to monitor planned date with versus actual finished date. So let me close this window. This is the one for the new task. So you will actually see, as I said, this is the fulfillment of the task. So this will indicate whether you are running on time or whether it's late. If you want to see how, like, for instance, how things have been changing over time, because naturally when we are running projects, nothing goes according to plan and things are being postponed during the process. And that's something that you can watch in Gantt as well. And I will show you that just in a minute after milestones. So when we click on milestone, it works just like the task. So a new milestone window will open for us. So by default is the project, obviously, is the one that we are in. We will call it milestone 1. You can choose a category or any other attributes, but what's compulsory is the project and the name. So an open milestone is always shown under the particular project where it's defined. So you can work with the milestones in global Gantt as well, not only on the project level, but on the global level as well. And you will see the milestone will always show above the tasks that are linked to the milestone. And it just keeps spinning at the moment. So we have milestone over here. And we have the tasks that are affected by the milestone. So what is essentially, for people who don't work with milestones, what is the purpose of a milestone? If you set a milestone and you set tasks that are related to linked to the milestone, for instance, the task cannot be moved behind that particular milestone. So even when you are using drag and drop and there's a milestone in your Gantt, you won't be able to drag the tasks behind that milestone that is associated with. So actually this is, so users can be allowed or prevented from moving tasks beyond the associated milestone. And it's a setting that is done in the administration in task tracking. So any kind of these permissions and settings, there's actually, so there's two things that you need to change the settings to if you want to with working. So for instance, the permissions and then these milestones, there are two ways, two places in settings where to do it. And before we get to Mohammed's questions and the baselines that I want to show you, actually, let's just, I'm very sorry we were disconnected. So let me just share this screen again. I don't know what happened there. So let me just quickly show you, as I mentioned before, what I wanted to show you is the settings. Not sure you heard that properly. So if you want to change the settings or adjust the settings, you will go to the menu more, administration. I will open it in a separate window. And here, if you want to change the permissions for Gantt, we will go to menu more, administrations, then roles and permissions. And whichever role we choose, let's say executive role, you will scroll down to easy Gantt resource management and scheduler. And you have here the things that you can permit or disable the people on the particular role to do, such as view global Gantt, edit global Gantt. So people on executive level are not being able, they can only view personal easy Gantt and resource management. While on the project level, they can view easy Gantt and resource management on project level, but they can't edit it. So just make sure that when you are editing the permissions on in the roles and permissions in your administration, you check both, because you probably know that it's divided into global permissions and project permissions. So there will be different permissions for global Gantt and for project Gantt. So that's one place that is important for settings. And another place that is important for Gantt settings, which is actually the milestones that I mentioned like a minute ago. So to configure if you are allowing the users or preventing them from moving the task beyond the associated milestone, you would go to, again, to the administration, and then to settings over here. So we scroll down, and then we will have task tracking. And over here, we have a box allowed to set task due date after milestone date. So at the moment, by default, in all the demos and probably in your applications, unless you have already changed it, it's not ticked, meaning it's disabled. So people cannot set task due date after the milestone that is associated with the task. If you want to change it, overwrite it, etc., it's only for administrators, and administrators can do it over here. So let's go for the project baselines. So in project management, the baseline is like the project's original plan. So it's what has been planned. Or I would say also there are versions of baselines, because as we know, in project management, not only you change the plan once, you usually change it several times, as in how the tasks and projects move in time, etc. So what are the baselines for? Is the original plan, let's say, okay, is the original plan of the project, and is visualizing how it was at the beginning, or at least in the previous phase before the last changes, and you can compare it to the current project plan. So in order to do that, you actually have to activate the easy baselines on your project. And to check whether it's been activated on your project, you can go to the settings on your project, where I showed you. Think we don't have to, we can leave it. That's a good thing. Even if you forget to save something and you are leaving the page, it'll ask you if you are sure you want to leave. So then we go to modules. And we can see the easy baseline over here. So by default in this particular project is already allowed, enabled. If you don't have it on your project, make sure you activate it, and it's in settings, modules, and then you would click on the easy baselines over here. So let's go back to our project Gantt again and click on baselines. So when you click on it the first time, because we have not saved any baseline yet, we will simply, it'll take like a snapshot of the current version of the project, the way it is at the moment. And when we hit the button save, you can save it as whichever, what name you want to use for that. It can be a date or anything else you want. For our purpose, let's use the baseline one, and we submit. So now the current time is shown in green, the way it is, and this is the orange is indicating the baseline. And as we know, when we move something, when we move one task, the following task, the related task will move as well. So let's do it. And now we can save the new baseline, so the new version of it, just by hitting the button save. And we have to save the changes we have done first before we can actually save the baseline. So we save the baseline. And now it's showing us baseline number 2. But let's do one more thing, and then I will show you how you can change between the baselines as well. So now we moved it again. We will hit the save button on the Gantt. Then we'll hit the save button for the baseline and save it as baseline number 3. And now if you want to see all the baselines, so again, green color indicates over here the current how it is at the moment, how the current state, excuse me, of the project, and the orange one is the baseline. And over here we have a drop-down menu where we can be choosing our baseline. So we can first check how it has changed compared to baseline number 1. You can see there's a big change of several weeks. Then we can compare it to baseline number 2, few weeks. And then baseline number 3 is actually the current state. And if you want to get rid of any baseline, such as baseline number 3, you just choose the baseline and hit the button delete. And then you'll be left just with 2 baselines, or you can add the new one. There's actually a lot of settings into Gantt, a lot of options it offers as well. And I'll probably mention just one more, and then I will show you where you can find it on our website, because if I was to go through everything that Gantt offers, we'll be here for several hours. So one more thing that you might have seen, notice if you want to switch off the baselines, we just click on them. So switch on, switch off. Actually, 2 more things. So in the tools, you can see the cash flow. So we can actually, if we enable that, and you have the financial module, the plugins, within your system, you can be monitoring the cash flow of the project directly over here, and you can be switching between a plan, a reality, or seeing the differences, etc. So that's also very useful that you don't have to leave Gantt to see that information. Very useful also for meetings because you can see the tasks in time, you can see your finances at the same time. Really good for that. And to switch off the cash flow, again, we hit the button here. And then the one thing I want to show you is critical path. So what is a critical path? It's a sequence of tasks that cannot be delayed because if they were, the whole project would be delayed. So it shows also the shortest time that the project can be completed, and a task within the project is considered critical if the due date cannot be delayed, since it would directly affect the project completion date. So this is especially for the tasks like we can see here that are related. So, and for us to be showing, to see the critical path, meaning it will show us all the tasks that cannot be delayed, we just hit the button under Tools, Critical Path, and it'll show us. So an activity on the critical path cannot be started until the previous piece is actually, or the activity is completed. So if it's delayed for a day, then the whole project will be delayed for a day. If it's delayed for 2 days, it affects the whole project the same way. So this is actually something that has to be the sequence that has to be done the way it has been planned, unless it will affect the whole project. And there can be some settings into the critical path as well. And we are almost running to the end of our webinar. So I would probably leave it here because I think it has been quite a lot of information. So if you ever want to find out more about the technical bits, about the settings and everything, excuse me here, you can go to our documentation. I will even show you how to get there. So this is the documentation on our website, and you can easily find all the technical information you need here. The easiest way to actually get there is simply to type in Gantt. And then in the search, you will look for the documentation bit, which is over here. And as you can actually see, so we will choose Easy Gantt Pro. So the settings are the same for the plugin and for the Easy Redmine as well. And as you can see, the content of this documentation is quite long. The list is quite long. So that's why we actually cannot cover everything, because though Easy Gantt looks very easy, there's a lot of nuances and settings and little bits here and there that are very useful that we can dive into. So I suggest after this webinar, you go to the documentation. You will, I would say, probably we covered 1/3 of what's in here. So have a look at that. And if you have any other further questions, there are actually many ways we can help you. So you can always, with the settings and etc., you can always contact us. So feel free. The easiest way is to get in touch with us in the chat window. The chat window is available in the right low corner, both on our website and in your application as well. So there you will get in touch with our support team. However, we also, if you want to help with your settings, we also offer our implementation services. And so you can get in touch with your account manager and you can inquire about the implementation services, which means that our team would do the settings of your Easy Redmine just the way, like tailor it for you, and you wouldn't have to spend the time, if you are the person who rather makes money than get into this nitty-gritties of the settings, of the technicalities. Let us do it for you, so you can get in touch with us. And if you are actually considering buying Easy Redmine because you are currently running, you're on your trial version, then simply go to our pricing. You can access it on our website, easyredmine.com, and then pricing, or you can actually access it through from your trial as well. When you're on the home page, there is a top toolbar, and which says Explore Settings, Explore Plans and Pricing, excuse me, and it brings you to the same page. And over here, as you can see, you have a variety to plans to choose from, etc. And if you're our current client and you're considering adding some other plugins to your Easy Redmine, or you need to increase the number of your users, etc., either contact your account manager or go to your customer portal by logging here. So you know your username, your password, and when you type it in, you can purchase it in your client zone as well. So I hope you enjoyed today's webinar. I'm sorry we couldn't cover more, but thank you for your attention. And there are more webinars coming soon, so make sure you keep checking your mailboxes for the news, for the newsletters with the upcoming webinars. Check also our website, where you will actually find the services. You will find the recordings of past webinars. Shortly there will be today's webinar as well. This webinar is already available on our Facebook, as we have been streaming live. I hope it didn't cut after my internet was having an issue. And you will also find a list of the upcoming webinars, which will be updated shortly with the next webinar, so you'll be able to sign up for the next webinar over here. So again, thank you so much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed today's webinar, and I hope to see you at our webinars, the future webinars. The next one will be in 2 weeks' time. And I wish you good luck with your projects.